charge them not to be haughty, nor to set their hopes on the uncertainty of riches. Loaded. He says, you in this present age who have this unique experience of wealth, I'm going to charge you not to be arrogant. Now, throughout the scriptures and life, what arrogance does is it minimizes God's grace and it maximizes my effort. That's arrogance. Arrogance is minimizing God's grace and maximizing my effort. That's arrogance 101. Now, the way arrogance shows up with wealth is you start to deny the truth and you assume a level of chronological ignorance or arrogance. Let me explain. Acts 17:26 says this, that God established the boundaries of your habitat, the allotted time periods in which you were born. So, we're born where we are because God saw that it was fit and good for us to be born where we are. It is God's design that you are born in America and not some war-torn country full of abject poverty. Nigerian, parents are Nigerian, light-skinned African, caused fights growing up, but I am African nonetheless. And in Nigerian history, there was this civil war, the Biafran War, and people died. And it was a revolutionary moment. My father fought in this war. I wasn't born in that war, so I don't have that same experience. God's grace. So, if you were born into a wealthy family, you didn't do that. It happened to you. God's grace. And what he's saying is, in charging them not to be arrogant, he's saying you need to have a right perspective of how you got to be where you are. God's grace. But it's not to diminish effort, it's just to elevate God's grace. 1 Samuel says this, the Lord makes poor and the Lord makes rich. He brings low and he exalts. 1 Samuel 2:7, God's grace. Matthew 5:45, for he makes the sun rise on the evil and on the good and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. God's grace. God's common good and his divine grace goes to people. And if in the outworking of God's common good and his unique grace, you have more wealth, that's not because you are good. It's God's grace. So what he says is you need to charge them to have a right perspective of themselves and a right perspective of the world around them that leads them to humility. Grace.